What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I'm your hostess, doing the mostest, Kevon She. Where are My Hero Academia fans at? Y'all, more importantly, where the hell was I at last year when this movie came out? Like, that's crazy. What was I doing last year? Oh, never mind. I was making movies myself. Oh man, that's crazy. Missed out on a lot. But y'all already know, right? I've been trying to put more animation, and stuff into the podcast because it's a part of me. It's a part of what I love. And I'm trying to get more comfortable with talking obsessively about the things that I obsess over. You know what I'm saying? This is a way for you to get to know me, for me to get to know y'all in the comments and the commentary and all of the different things. So, of course, if you didn't watch any of the stuff that I did this month for my Film Wednesdays, it's strictly about animation. Okay. I love cartoons, always have, always will, love the story. And there's just a lot that you can do within a storyline in a medium where the imagination can literally just take flight. And with animation and cartoons, you got superpowers, you got flying, you got warping, people die, people come back, Dragon Ball Z, okay? How many times did Goku die and come back? Hello. So it's just really fun, and I hope that y'all are enjoying it. So if you like animation, I hope that I'm able to tell you about something that you didn't see yet, or maybe something that you saw and you enjoyed and you want to talk about it because you didn't have anybody to talk about it with. Or if you're not really like super into animation, but you're like, oh, the storyline seems like it might be cool or whatever, then just go ahead and check it out. And with this month's films, I am specifically picking stuff that's on Netflix because, again, not everybody has access or the money to be buying all these other streaming services. I wanted it to be on Netflix because Netflix has been around long enough for at least the majority of people to have access to it, or at least, share the password, you know what I'm saying? Get a little VPN, you know what I'm saying? You didn't hear that from me? So, what is My Hero Academia Your Next about? Before we can go into what this movie is about, let me just catch y'all up on where we are and what happened in the last season. So, this is just gonna be brief. If you really want to know, you just got to watch My Hero Academia. It's been around for a long time. This movie is a continuation of all of the previous events, but the one specifically, there was a UA trader arc. So UA is the UA High School. I looked up like what UA stood for because I couldn't remember, but it's really like just in their language, and it means hero, but then like backwards, it's pronounced like UA. And so they just went with UA High School. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I found on the internet. So there was this whole trader arc, and the identity was revealed to be Yuga Aoyama. So Yuga Aoyama was actually manipulated and blackmailed into being with this bad group called All for One. And so they were all out trying to fight the Hero Academia. So basically like the hero high school kids. And what the students of UA do is it's a school full of heroes. They're working on their powers. They're working on like teamwork and all these other things to just fight like bad guys, people with abilities or quirks, is what they call them, and they're using them for their own personal gain. I mean, you can just think about any type of like action cartoon. That's just the basic recipe. But what ended up happening during this trader arc is Yuga ended up finding out like he was being lied to, he was being manipulated, he was being taken advantage of. And at the end of that whole trader arc, he ended up turning on All for One and leaving them and then joining UA High School for My Hero Academia. Okay. Now, where we end up here. So the main person this is about is Izuku Midoriya, aka Deku. So Izuku was like this kid when My Hero Academia first came out. He didn't have no powers, but he always wanted to be a hero and he wanted to save the world. And I just have such a noble heart and all these other things. And then eventually he gets a quirk and has all these other modifications. He gets accepted to the school. Cool. We're all here. We're all friends. We're all fighting forces of evil and such. Well, in this movie, I love how like the plot kind of takes place right out the gate. So there's this guy, he comes up and his name is All Might. So this guy just kind of like comes out of nowhere while this other guy named Julio is in the middle of getting ready to shoot this girl named Anna. So Deku was looking around. He's like, wait a minute. I see this girl like crying because she got snatched by somebody else. Somebody else is coming out the woodwork, slowing down time, kidnaps this girl. And then this man just ascends from the sky and says that he's Deku's favorite hero of all time, All Might. But Deku's like, my power senses are going off, and something is telling me like this is super dangerous. Like, you got the face of who I like, but your spirit is not who you say it is. So he goes and he kidnaps Anna, and he ends up like putting their entire area into like this sleep world, dream world space. And so right off the bat, it's like, boom, conflict immediately out the gate. So Deku, he's kind of nosy, and I just need everybody to remember these are high school kids, okay? So Deku was kind of nosy. So they're doing, the whole scary movie thing, like, oh, something dangerous just happened. Let's not run away. Let's investigate it, even though I'm by myself and I could potentially lose this battle and die. Like, again, high school. So he goes off to Julio and he was like, yo, like, what is up? And Julio's like, listen, you need to mind your business. You're interfering with me. Actually got this girl taken and she needs to die. So Deku's like, what do you mean she needs to die? And he was like, listen, I'm not going to be explaining myself to no kid. Like, we need to figure out what's going on. So in that time, Deku is separated from the rest of the people from the high school, and they're in this world and they're trapped. And so then they're seeing Anna, and she's looking a little different, and she's kind of walking around like a zombie. And she's over here touching the people that are kind of trapped in this space, and all of them are passing out. So the rest of the crew is like, oh, nah, we need to stop her. And so they just run into this mess, half cocked. Like, y'all couldn't stop them when it was in the sky and blanketed the space. So what I mean by blanketing the space, if you watched WandaVision, what she did to that whole town is what All Might did to their town. So that's like the correlation, right? If I had to give y'all something, if you don't know what I'm talking about. So they're like trapped in this town. Turns out, Anna has a quirk where if you're compatible with her, she can enhance your quirk already. But if you're not compatible, it will cause you immense pain and you end up passing out. The lady who was walking around with her and basically forcing her to touch all of these different people within this town, she has the ability to put people in like a daydream state or like a dream state. But when she's touching Anna, she can affect everybody, not just like a single person or 1 to 5. She can do all of it at one time. So because they go running up in here and she looks at them and she puts them in a dream state. And so she traps them in a space where it seems like it's their most fondest memories or memories that they had that makes them the happiest. And so in that aspect of it, with the violence that happens, with the fighting on the outside, at least in the dream world, it was like kind of peaceful before, she was gonna kill him or whatever. So Deku runs in and, they're getting caught up in the things, and Julio ends up getting affected. So Deku and Julio are in this dream state, but Deku is so focused and he pays attention so much. It kind of makes you understand why he's kind of the leader. He's like the Robin in this whole like Teen Titans thingy situation, even though all of them are important. But in this movie, like, the rest of them are trapped in these spaces, and he's the only one walking around in the dream space trying to wake other people up and get Julio to realize like this is not real. This is not a real world. So it's not really affecting him in that way. And for me, I was just like, I wonder if it's not affecting him because whatever his quirk is that he got is unaffected by old girl's power for the dream state. So he's instantly recognizing it. So he gets Julio out of it, but in this dream state, we see like the relationship between Julio and Anna. And as they come out and he's getting ready to kill Anna for like a second attempt, Deku keeps him from killing Anna, and All Might comes back after he done changed his name to Dark Might. Y'all, good day. Good day. We're gonna get back to how lame he is. He ends up escaping. So Deku's like, boy, what is wrong with you? And Julio's like, sir, didn't I tell you? Mind your business. And Deku's like, listen, I don't know what you got going on, but when I looked at you, you looked like you didn't even want to kill her in the first place. So you're not some cold-blooded killer. You got some feelings or something and some type of situation going on with Anna, and you have to tell me right now, because what we're not going to do is go around just killing people. So we end up finding out that Anna, her quirk is enhancing other people's powers. But if she's not compatible with people, she gives them immense pain. So she ended up going into a state where she wasn't touching anybody at all. But whenever she doesn't have a medium to let her powers loose, it turns in on her and it will cause her to lose control, and she won't have a bit like control over her own self, and then she can destroy everybody. Julio's quirk is neutralization. So he can literally just neutralize people's powers, and for temporary bouts of time, they won't be able to use them. And so because of this, they actually developed a friendship and a relationship with that. So once all of her powers takes over, there's really no controlling anything. And so apparently she made a pact with Julio, and she was just like, listen, there are people out to get me. And if that happens, or before that happens, I really need you to promise me that you will kill me, because all they're going to do is make the world a more terrible place. So at this point, Deku's like, my guy, that is so sad. And I get it, but we still not killing her. And so the rest of the crew was like, listen, you was just doing this by yourself. And I get it, the walls are closing in on you, but you got all of us. And it's basically the whole damn high school. So they're just like, listen, you're not alone. You got us. We're going to figure it out. Now that there's like 30 of us, you have 30 more minds coming up with multiple different scenarios in which we can save her and we can stop this fake All Might. Turns out All Might and his crew is really a part of the Gollini family, and they've been out here trying to target Anna and her family and her powers for the longest. So it's already been up. Beef been there, right? And come to find out, All Might, when he was like taking his powers, the reason he looked like, or Dark Might, or whatever he was calling himself, the reason he looked like All Might is because he got into a little tussle with him, and then he ended up winning, and he took on his appearance. And so every time he was using the quirk from Anna to enhance his powers, he was able to do some insane, but albeit incredible stuff with his powers. So it's 30 against like a good 5 that he has, and he got some pretty strong people on his side. Like this ain't no easy battle to win for our heroes. You get me? So they going up against him. They're going up with the guy who was doing like the slow-mo thing. They're going up with old girl who could put everybody in a dream state, and it's on and popping. At this point, Julio is giving it everything that he got. Like, yo, like Anna, that's bae. She don't even know that I love her for real, for real. I really need to make sure that she is good to go. So everybody is fighting for their lives. They got somebody who can teleport and somebody else can do telekinesis. But at this point, and this is one of the things that I genuinely like love. It's so corny, but I love about anime is like they be describing everything that's going on. So they're just like, do you see what he's doing? Look, he has telekinesis. He could teleport. How are we going to figure out where they're landing? Guy, do you see what they did right there? Yeah, bro. They need something that they can touch. Well, let's destroy everything that they can touch. And so then they like burn down all the buildings. And so they end up catching one of the guys because he ain't got nowhere to land. He can only mimic the places that he's seen. So he can only teleport to a place that he's touched or that he's seen. So they go and destroy all of the visual around him, baby. You know, like they're over here like, you are the visuals. And they're like, you're not the visuals. You ain't got none. So they destroy everything. And so they catch them in the air. So now it's up because instead of just fighting and going in half cocked, it's called Hero Academia. Okay, the academia part is starting to kick in this movie. So everybody's just trying to sit and settle and be like, okay, we got to strategize and we got to plan. Okay, I know the hormones are kicking in. I know we act 3 times more than we think. But we need to chill, we need to settle, because we need to help Anna. And this fake little All Might dude, he got to go. He got to go. So my man shows back up who can slow down time and slow down different events because he thinking he finna roll up on Deku. Now, Deku was the one who came into his powers a little bit later after everybody, okay? My man was out there with no powers on a hope, prayer, and a dream trying to become a hero. So everything that he does, it's almost like he has to prove to himself and everybody around him that he deserves this spot on the team. But honestly, like, much like Robin didn't have all of the powers, right? But Robin was a beating people ass, okay? And what does Deku do? The same with his cute little cheeks, okay? Such a cute character. So my man's come up and he's thinking he's Neo or whatever from the Matrix, and he gonna stop this time, right? Deku was going away from the whole thing while he was trying to like expand it to get Deku trapped into this space where he could slow everything down. So Deku has like these little web thingies that comes from his arms and he puts it on the tree. And I'm like, oh yeah, he finna slingshot himself, right? I'm thinking like, okay, bet. There was a little bit more to this. He put himself all the way to the back of the wall. My man had a power boot on that right foot, on that good foot. Got all the static charge from whatever was going on in him and then launched himself into this void. So my man's just like, oh yeah, you think you really gonna, and out of nowhere, he's like, oh my God, like how is he moving fast? And like, boom, it's up for their team. Okay, they was losing a little bit. But now, like Deku, he's the heart, and he's like, listen, y'all not gonna outsmart us, and you damn sure not gonna beat us. So he goes and he gets Julio. And he was like, listen, I'm gonna fly you over here to Anna because that's the only thing that's important. We get Anna away from all of them, they ain't no match for us at all. Boom. Old girl with the dream state comes over and she knocks him back down in the dream. But Julio done already escaped this dream before. You're not gonna do the same trick twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You can't fool me, you can't get fooled again. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sleepy, y'all. So he goes and he does his little mechanical eye and he tracks her. So she's scared a little bit. And he pulls out his arm and he's getting ready to shoot her. So she laughs and she's like, oh my God, he got bullets. You ain't gonna do nothing. My man had a gun in his leg, y'all. In his leg. And he got her. Like, we got stuff to do. Now we're thinking like, okay, it's up for the team. Woo! Yay, heroes. All Might comes from the sky. It's on and popping. At this point, it's basically Frieza versus Goku versus Yamcha versus Krillin versus Piccolo. Like, and think of everything. Like, it's a battle for the gods. Y'all, it's a battle for the guys. But listen, much like the title of Your Next, we went and had a nice little speech from Deku up in here. And he's talking about, you think you finna be the new face of people with quirks and people with superheroes? You done stole somebody else's face. You ain't up next, bro. It's us. It's always us. It's never gonna be you. And then he goes and does the equivalent of a Kamehameha and he blasts it at All Might. Okay. And one of the funniest things that happens is he's like, oh my God, not my face. And he ends up like basically turning into who was it? Okay. You remember when Hades got punched in the face by Hercules after he saved Meg from the pool of death and everything sunk in and it just looked like really old and like stuff like that? That's what he ended up looking like, except his eyes were like disintegrated and everything like that. And then, Yay! Anna is saved, right? Wrong. She done went so long with her powers getting used, like the more that it was used and abused. And then once it was stopped, at the magnitude in which they were doing all these things, it ended up turning in on herself. And baby, all of the tentacles is coming out. Okay, she got the tentacles of Medusa's hair. She got Ursula's tentacles. She got everything, baby. It's all out here. It's black. It's inky. She's looking like Venom in the sky. And at this point, it's a wrap for y'all because she has like the strongest quirk. If she wanted to, she can kill everybody. But Julio is like, listen, I made you a promise. So I die, you die, we die together. Like, it just is what it is. So he finally takes off his mechanical hand and he goes and he touches her. And because the full realization of her power was out, when he touched her at the full might, because her power enhances everybody else's ability, he ended up permanently neutralizing her quirk. And voila, she can't hurt anybody anymore. The end. Now, I know I normally do like reviews of stuff and I don't be leaving like, what's the word? I don't necessarily be like giving y'all everything for the films, but for some reason with animation, it's just easier to retell the story in a recap than like with humans, because a lot of the times the subplot, like you just gotta watch it, or it's like all laid out plain as day in animation versus like humans and stuff. So that's why this one and the last two that I did before, and potentially next week, they're going to be like a retelling, because a lot of people don't watch animation. So if you watch me, then you basically just watched the movie. So I hope you liked it. I hope you liked it. I was telling somebody else about it and they was like, damn, do I need to watch this? Yes. Yes, you do. Do not sleep on animation at all, okay? At all. And a quick plug because of animation, Blood of Zeus season 3 final season comes to Netflix on May 8th, and it's adult animation, so you know, not for your kids. And Netflix just has a lot of adult animation. Shout out to Castlevania for kind of just like ushering this in for adult animators onto the platform. There's a lot of stuff on Netflix that is like, when I tell you, not safe for work, not safe for kids. But it's a great way to get an audience that would have never like watched it to buy into adult themes in an adult show. One of my favorite adult series that's on Netflix right now is Hero Mask. You almost forget that you're even watching a cartoon because it's like Criminal Minds meets Law and Order meets America's Most Wanted meets like, I don't know, pick a spy movie or whatever. Like, you get so absorbed into the adult storyline that it's really easy to take the blinders off and take off what you think you know about animation and just watch it. And so that's why it was important for me, for this month, for April, for my Film Wednesdays to be about animation, especially in a world where, you know, the animators, you know, the writers were fighting AI scripts and the actors were fighting, you know, AI using their voices and their likeness. And now animators are fighting AI for being able to do designs and making stuff like that. Like, I'm not necessarily saying AI is bad. There is a place for it. I mean, like the calculator is a form of AI, Google search, a form of AI. But with animation, all of it is about, you know, the art, the passion, the humanness that goes behind these projects and put into every single detail of it. And, you know, you just can't get that from AI if you just type in like, oh, draw me this thing. You lose that thing that connects the art to the story to the viewer. And so that's why it's important for me to continue to talk about animation on my platform, even if it's not as constant as the human stuff. And just to, again, get an audience who may have otherwise not watched it or had an interest in it, at least, you know, give it a try. So there's that. My Hero Academia, your next film on Netflix, along with a little more tidbits that I kind of went off on a tangent. But of course, as always, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave comments in the comments box below. And for your audio only people, make sure you share that Spotify link as well as the Apple Podcast link. You can also find me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, as well as TikTok at Kivanshi. We're on both of those platforms. I'm talking about other shows. I'm reviewing other shows. People on TikTok, man, what a group. If y'all not in there, join the community. Join the community. I promise you, you're not going to get repeat products from YouTube on TikTok and vice versa. It goes down. And of course, the OG platform, you can find me on Twitter, popping my all the time at Kivanshi. And with that, I'm going to catch y'all in the next one.